Hegel famously begins the preface to the Phenomenology of Spirit by saying that, although it is customary to preface a work with an explanation of the author's aim, why he wrote the book, and the relationship in which he believes it to stand to other earlier or contemporary treatises on the same subject. In the case of a philosophical work, however, such an explanation seems not only superfluous, but, in view of the nature of the subject matter, even inappropriate and misleading. In fact, Hegel explains, whatever might appropriately be said about philosophy in a preface, say a historical statement of the main drift and the point of view, the general content and results, a string of random assertions and assurances about truth, none of this can be accepted as the way in which to expound philosophical truth. Even more importantly, Hegel continues, in philosophy, more than in any of the other sciences, that which is salient about its subject matter is expressed in the aim and the final results, the execution being by contrast really the unessential factor. In this introduction, I will mostly follow Hegel's lead in this respect, especially in relation to his claim that what is salient about a book is expressed in the aim. But I will not be entirely consistent with Hegel's suggestions, and I will also provide some inappropriate, according to Hegel's definition, explanations, hoping that they will not be too misleading. After all, Hegel himself does something of that sort in the remaining part of his preface to the Phenomenology. This is a book about Hegel's philosophy. More specifically, it is about some aspects of his philosophy of religion. Clearly, it would be out of line to claim that this is an original topic. A quick look at the shelves of a university library or a specialized or even semi-specialized bookshop will make clear that there is no shortage of volumes addressing this or that specific aspect of Hegel's philosophy. And if it is true that religion is probably not one of the most popular subjects of investigation in Hegel's scholarship, even under this respect, the corpus of secondary literature is solid. Indeed, as O'Regan puts it in the introduction to his influential The Heterodox Hegel, the museum of interpretive shapes is showing signs of overcrowding. Page 25. And since O'Regan wrote these words in 1994, the overcrowding of interpretations has continued. In this context, one might legitimately wonder whether it is appropriate to contribute to that overcrowding by writing a book that not only addresses some of the most central themes of Hegel's philosophical project, but also does that from an angle, that of religion, which is sometimes regarded marginal for a consideration of Hegel that aims to go beyond the disciplinary field of the history of philosophy. The only possible answer to this skeptical consideration is, I believe, the open admission that a book such as this one may be written only by someone who thinks that some aspects of Hegel's philosophy may contribute to the current philosophical debate, and that a philosophical work that strives to clarify those elements of Hegel's projects that have hitherto remained opaque or not completely unpacked would enable the identification of such contribution. Specifically, I think that Hegel's philosophy of religion effectively represents an important perspective on the nature of religion, one that has been excluded from consideration for more than a century because of misunderstandings. Several of these misunderstandings have already been clarified by other scholarly works. From this point of view, the intent of the present book is to provide a contribution to such an enterprise. Also, and perhaps less modestly, this book has the ambition to show to what extent Hegel's philosophical project on religion is still relevant today.